Recorded Books presents Battle of Shadows, Book 3 of the Battles of the Republic, by James Rosone and Brandon Ellis, narrated by Scott Aiello. Chapter 1. Angel's Hundred. Year 2098, RNS Gallipoli, Intis Orbit. Blake Coop Cooper lay on his bunk in the pilot quarters, staring at the ceiling and trying to decompress from another long day of flight ops. The bulkheads whirred with the constant vibration of the ship's engines, a sound now just as familiar as his own damn heartbeat after so long aboard the Izumo-class heavy orbital assault ship. On his pillow, and next to his ear, his Q-pad chimed with an incoming message. He turned to face it, eyes wide. The screen showed, "Fleet Personnel Command, immediate attention required." He sat up quickly, heart skipping a beat. Is this it? He wondered. Lord, it just might be. The cramped quarters housed several pilots, their bunks stacked too high against opposite bulkheads. Personal belongings were crammed into small lockers. The overhead lighting always bugged him, and he simply hadn't gotten used to it. Regardless, Coop looked around. Had anyone else gotten the same alert? He looked at his bunkmates. Several were asleep, but the ones on their own devices showed no recognition of receiving any important messages, which meant at that moment they were oblivious to this notification that might change everything in Coop's life. When he opened the message and read the words, a cold shock ran through him. Your application to join the 1st Special Tactics Wing has been accepted. Accepted. The word reverberated in his mind. What? No way. He looked at the words a second time. To his surprise, he wasn't hallucinating. This was really happening. Balls the size of Texas, he whispered, remembering the recruitment ad's ridiculous language. Closing his eyes, Coop's mind drifted back to about a month ago, when he'd been scrolling through routine fleet correspondence during his off-duty hours. The pilot quarters had been quiet that night, just the steady sound of life support systems and the occasional snore from Bear's bunk. Buried among the usual administrative notices and training bulletins, he'd spotted something stopping him dead cold. A special request, a recruitment advertisement from Rear Admiral Dallas Travis, commander of the 1st Special Tactics Wing. The message had been as blunt as it could possibly be. Looking for Navy pilots with the right stuff and balls the size of Texas to become tactical air and space controllers. Intrigued, despite himself, Coop had clicked on the advertisement and discovered these were the shadowy operators he'd heard on the comms in those hair-raising close air support missions during his brief stint flying AS-90 Reaper drones. Their voices on the comm had always sounded calm. They were professional and deadly. He'd always wondered who had the nerves to coordinate orbital strikes and artillery support while embedded with Army units on hostile worlds. Turned out many of them were Navy pilots like himself, wearing the coveted red berets of the Special Tactics Wing and working hand in glove with Republic Army forces. As he'd read through the requirements that night, doubt began creeping in. Self-doubt clawed its way from the depths. The physical standards were more than brutal. The mental evaluations seemed legendary, and the specialty schools had washout rates that would make most pilots reconsider their career choices. He'd hesitated, finger hovering over the application button. Could he do this? The question had gnawed at him. The job description told of facilitating orbital strikes from Republic vessels, coordinating artillery support, and calling in close air support from F-97 Orions, B-99 Raiders, and other fleet assets, all while embedded with ground forces in the thick of combat. Lieutenant Lincoln Bear Bowman was in his bunk across the narrow aisle, reading a worn paperback book, almost extinct in this day and age. The muscular brute barely fit in the standard Navy bunk, and his feet hung over the edge. "Bear," Coop whispered, trying not to wake the others. "I need to talk to you." Bear looked up from his book. "What's up, Coop?" "Follow me. Somewhere private." Bear scrunched up.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.